This is my first long form video that I've recorded in years, so please bear with me. Kind of learning my way. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe. This is a story about how I quit my job and the factors that led to my resignation. So 1 week ago, I finally completed my last day with my employer after 4 years of working there. It was kind of bittersweet because I have met a lot of great people there. I have met some friends there. Um, and at one point, I genuinely enjoyed my job. I was generally proud to um, do the work that I did. Felt like I was helping a lot of people, but there was also a benefit to me, or so I felt at the time, where it was a secure federal government job with good benefits, good health insurance, retirement, annual leave, you name it. So I was genuinely proud of the job I had attained. And again, I was there for 4 years, and I thought I was going to be there for a lifetime. I thought that was going to be my career, my lifelong career. I thought I was going to retire from that job. But that did not end up being the case. After initially being hired as a temporary employee, I worked hard and I worked my way up, and I eventually became a permanent employee. You can imagine my excitement at the time because it was that good government job. Um, and so I genuinely felt I had really arrived. I was here. I was in my element, and all I had to worry about was proving myself, doing what I needed to do to climb that ladder. Because at the time, I thought that's genuinely what I wanted for my life. So years had gone by, and there were moments where I wasn't so enthusiastic about my job, but most people, there are days where, they're not too into their job, and, that's just life. But it never dawned upon me, or it never even crossed my mind, the idea of quitting my job, or even not working for the agency that I had worked so hard to get into in the first place. So none of that ever, none of that ever crossed my mind at any point. I still thought that, this was it. Um, and maybe this job was not long term, but my my position, me being working with the agency, that was long term. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be with this agency until I retired. And that's what I genuinely thought. Even with those days where I wasn't so enthusiastic, but I still, felt that, okay, I'm still going to grow with this agency and I'm going to move up. So, what happened? What made me change my mind? Um, So I never could have expected the amount of burnout, demoralization, pure depression that would come out of working at this position. I never would have thought that a government agency would have such blatant disregard for labor laws to the point where they would make us work 25 days straight on a 12 to 14-hour day basis. So one, they're making you work 25 days straight without a break. Two, they're making you work 12 to 14 hours each day. Um, I didn't even I didn't even know that was legal in the first place. let alone legal within the federal government of all places. But this is what they were allowed to do because of the nature of the work that we did. They were able to get away with it. They were able to literally make us work an infinite, or what felt like an infinite amount of hours and days without giving us any time off. And not to mention the exhaustion, the burnout, um, to say the least, that really, really pissed me off. And at that point, I was done. It's no longer interested in making it work with this agency because I had been thinking about quitting for a few months prior to that, but I was thinking, okay, I'll work for the rest of the year. I work till December. Maybe something's gonna come up where it's not gonna be as stressful. There's not gonna be a lot of as much work, and they'll allow me the opportunity to take my leave because at this point I was getting up to like 30, 31 days of annual leave collected that I couldn't even use because every time I went to my supervisor about using it, he would come up with different excuses as to why I could not use it, like we're understaffed, or there's too much work. We can't afford for you to take time off. Not now. After the busy season is over. There were all these excuses, but there was a period of maybe 2 or 3 months where they could have allowed me to use my leave. They could have allowed me to take several weeks off, and it would not have negatively impacted the operations of the agency, or at least the unit that I worked in within the agency. And they simply chose not to. So I'm in a position where I'm being overworked, mandatory overtime for 8 months straight. So mandatory 10-hour days for 8 months straight. Um, not being able to use leave when they could have let me use my leave, and I'm being given all these excuses as to why I have to work here. And then what happens? The month of September gets here, which the month of September is always the busiest, most stressful month of the year, almost every year, like clockwork. It never fails. But in the past, what they would do is they would make us work 14 days, and then they would give us 1 day off. And also, they would never make us work more than 12 hours within a day. So I thought. So a lot of things that I thought that they would not do or they could not do, they ended up doing and then some. So the when I thought that they could not make us work more than 14 days straight without giving us a break, they made us work 25 days. I thought they could make us work 12 hours within a single day. They made us work 14 hours within a single day. So all these things, plus the fact that they didn't let me use my leave before the month of September when they could have, plus the fact that there was all this mandatory overtime that we had to do anyway for the past year, and now the month of September comes and we're dealing with what we're dealing. So, needless to say, I was done. Um, I basically kind of snapped, kind of had a nervous breakdown, uh, and that is what prompted me to write my resignation letter. And once I felt that the resignation letter was perfect enough to submit, I went ahead and asked to, you know, have a meeting with my supervisor. So he was a little shocked. He asked me, "Why are you leaving us? Did you get a new job or like what's going on?" So told him that I was not feeling well health wise. I was sick and I needed to take the time to work on my health and get better, which is technically true because this job was making me very sick and I needed to do what was necessary to remove the source of my sickness, which is this job. Obviously, I have to keep it professional because at some point I may need a job within the federal government. I might even need to come back to the very agency that I left, right? So I didn't want to burn any bridges. And so I just gave him the politically correct answer, the professional answer. So I've submitted my 2 weeks notice. And let me tell you, that was the longest 2 weeks of my life. Like every single day felt like several days. Like one work day felt like 3 or 4 days. So it just that 2 weeks was so slow. But the day finally came on that Friday, my last day, and I let all my favorite people at the agency know that it was my last day. Gave them my contact information, and that was it. So today is Thursday, almost a week after I resigned. My first week without a job, and I would say I'm very lucky to be in the position that I'm in because I did spend the 4 years that I was at the agency. I did save a lot of my money. I was very intentional about saving the excess income that I was earning. Uh, my living expenses, my rent, my utilities, and my groceries were the things that I budgeted for. Anything that was extra, that went to my savings. So I'm very lucky that I got to the point where I knew that I didn't have to continue taking the abuse anymore. And so now I'm here on the other side. It was scary. It was a scary decision. For every reason I came up with as to why I should leave this job, I had a million reasons as to why it was a terrible idea and why I would regret it. Let me tell you something. Fear is a very powerful thing. Even when deep in your heart you know that there's something that you need to do, the fear kind of lies to you and makes you kind of gaslights you into thinking that this is not a good decision and you should not do this because this and that will happen. But I got so fed up by that job that the fear no longer moved me. I knew what needed to be done, and I I took I finally took action. So my plan now, I've decided that I'm gonna take a few months to just rest, uh, spend time with my extended family, travel to a few places that I've been wanting to travel to for a while now, and just do the things that bring me joy, the things that bring me happiness that I felt I didn't have the opportunity to do because of the restraints that came with my job. Um, excited for the next few months of my life, and I'm gonna chill for now. I'm not gonna start looking for another job until January. So I'm gonna kind of chill for the rest of this year. It's currently October 15th. So I'm gonna chill for the rest of the year, and then in January I'm gonna start looking for new employment. But part of the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm severely exhausted. So I just need that break, but also I need the time to think about what I'm going to be doing with my life moving forward. What do I want my life to look like? What kind of work do I want to be doing? Do I want to be working for somebody else, or do I want to be working for myself? So it's a lot of things I have to think about, and I feel like I need some time to think about those things. It feels good to not be severely exhausted, be able to get as much sleep as I need, um, be able to wake up whenever I please, uh, catch up on some of my shows. You know, the little things that you take for granted, right? Um, just go to the park and sit at the park bench for like 2 hours and just people watch or look at nature, like, like, again, the simple things that we so often take for granted. I am so privileged and so grateful that I'm able to partake in those little things. So I'm I'm glad to be here in this space that I'm in right now. So I hope that my story has encouraged some of you to perhaps take that next step. Again, I understand that fear is a very powerful thing, and I can only speak for myself. When I look at other people's stories and I hear other people's stories about how they overcame their fear, that kind of gives me the confidence and courage that I need to do what I need to be done. So hopefully this speaks to somebody out there, and you're able to take that next step. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I do plan on being more consistent with this channel and making more videos in the future because I have some free time now. So um, there are a lot of ideas that I have in my head. So hopefully you stick with me, and you will uh, watch my other videos or listen to my other ideas. Anyway, again, my name is Julius, and thank you for listening to my story, and I hope to see you next time.